The studio executive said, "What do you think, we're stupid? What do you think I'm going to pay you millions of dollars for that?" I said, "Don't worry. I have an idea. We do it for nothing. I do the movie for nothing. And in return, you give us 37.5% ownership of the movie." Wow, Grant, you really know how to spice it up. That is amazing. Thank you so much for this great welcome. This is really unbelievable. And I was looking forward so much to come here to Fort Lauderdale and to come to this conference because it's such a world-renowned conference. I mean, it's the biggest business conference probably in the world. There's no two ways about that. And I just had the great pleasure to meet his whole family. Elaine, did I pronounce it right? Elaine?
Elaine.
Okay, good, yeah, and his two daughters. What a beautiful, the best looking family around.
Thank you.
Unbelievable.
Maybe I'll run for governor of California one day.
The only thing, we miss him in California. But you know something, I don't blame him for moving out of California because they do it to themselves. With their policies, with their taxes, and the greediness, and not treating businesses the right way. People are fleeing California because of that, so I don't blame you for moving out of there.
And your friend, you were telling me backstage, your friend, your good friend.
Oh, yeah, Stallone. Oh, yes, Stallone. He said to me, he says, Florida. And so I figured out what he meant was he's leaving California because of the taxes, and he's moving to Florida. He's moving to Palm Beach. So he moved to Palm Beach. He's been living there now for more than a year, and he's having a great time with his family and doing really well with his business and his movies and all that stuff, his TV show and everything. So, I mean, it's fantastic. But it's great to be here.
Yeah.
It's great to be here.
And I asked you backstage, I'm sure he gets invited to be involved in a million things a year. Would you guys expect, like, he could be at a million different things today? How do you select what to be involved in and what to turn away in your life as somebody that's been successful across so many different industries?
Well, you know, sometimes, for instance, I get asked to do a speech about the environment. So I have really gotten into the environmental issues when I was governor of California. As a matter of fact, we became the only state that really reduced greenhouse gases and pollution by 25% over a period of 10 years. And we did some great laws, the million solar roofs and all those kind of things, more renewable energy and all of that. And, you know, so I got passionate about, so if someone invites me to an environmental speech and it's a really serious organization where they're really serious about it, then I go. Sometimes, like, for instance, a business seminar or a gathering like you have here, where you have thousands and thousands of people that are in here in this hall that all want to be more successful. And and I don't blame you for that. And you know, and the great thing is when I look around here, it's kind of like probably Democrats, Republicans, declined to state, independents, blacks, whites, women, men, young, old. I mean, there's a really interesting group of people that I see here all mixed up. And that's what the reality of life is. The reality of life, it doesn't have much to do with politics. It has to do with how do I become more successful? What are the secrets to become more successful? And I myself never thought that I would become a motivational speaker and talk about this subject, because that was not my goal when I was 15 years old. My goal was to become the most muscular man in the world and to become a movie star and to make millions of dollars. And I tell you something, because I came to America, I was able to accomplish all of those three goals. Because I came to America. Because this, without any doubt, is the best country in the world with the greatest opportunities. No two ways about it. And again, it has nothing to do with Democrats versus Republicans. It has to do with one thing. This country was built by great people, by strong people, by people that didn't believe in sleeping in to get my beauty sleep. Those are people that got up at 4 or 5 in the morning and that struggled and that worked hard. And that's what it's about. That's why in my book, Be Useful, in that book I say, one of the chapters is, work your ass off. Because there is no shortcut. There is no magic pill. There is no magic pill at all. It's all about one thing, and this is have a goal, very clear vision of a goal, and then go after it and work your ass off. And that's what you did, Grant. That's why you have 5 black Hummers standing outside in front of the hotel. Did you see his Hummers? Can you believe that? I mean, I tell you, I'm a collector of Hummers. I have Hummers myself.
Did you get excited when you saw those?
Excited. Can I be honest?
Did you get a Woody?
I got pissed off. I got jealous. I said, this guy's Hummers look better than my Hummers. What is going on here? I said, you have to have a Hummer pose off or something. It's like unbelievable.
One of them's bulletproof, completely bulletproof. 9,600 pounds.
9,600?
9,600 pounds, bulletproof, windows, doors.
Yeah, but my Hummer is only 6,500 pounds.
Well, this thing's got 3,000.
No, so mine goes easier through the snow and through the deep sand.
Yeah.
So you see?
Mine's got a turbo engine. It'll go 80 miles an hour.
I'm a little bit ahead of it. Your mine has wheels that are 42 inches. And I have 2 tanks. I have a 20-gallon tank with biofuel and a 20-gallon tank with regular fuel. Do you have that? You see what I'm saying?
Wait a minute. Fucking slow down. Slow down.
Now you've seen one thing.
Mine's got $1 million worth of cash in the back seat.
Two more mature men, age-wise, still acting like little children, right?
Hopefully, hopefully.
But this is what it's about. You got to stay a kid. You got to be excited about little things, you know. And so when I drove up this driveway to the hotel, and I just had some lunch there, and I saw those Hummers, and I said to myself, whose Hummers are those? They said, Grant's. I said, this is unbelievable. That's fantastic. So I wanted to compliment you right away how fantastic it was and how fun this is to see someone still being kind of young in spirit and still loving the toys. We boys love the toys, right? This is the way it is, right? And so this is why we go all out there, all of those things.
So you talked about goals, okay? When did you know? When was the first time you knew? And I saw the movie and everything, but I wanted to ask you. I said, I got to ask the man. When did you know you would become this version of yourself? Or did you ever know that?
That I would become this.
Governor,
no.
investor.
I mean, okay. So, like I said, when I was 15 years old, I did dream about becoming the most muscular man and to become rich and to become famous and to become a movie star. Those things I dreamt. But then there was things after that happened, like, for instance, running for governor of the state of California. I thought in my wildest dreams was this ever in my vision. It was only when I was finished with Terminator 3, I remember. And I was finished promoting Terminator 3, and the state was declining and it was going downhill faster than you can imagine. And all of a sudden we had like a $35 billion deficit. And everything was going on. There were blackouts, there were brownouts. They couldn't get the act together. And so then all of a sudden there was a recall election where they wanted to recall the governor. So I said to myself, you know something? I think that I can do better than all those politicians in Sacramento. I can do better than that. And so I put my name down. I went on the Tonight Show to my buddy Jay Leno. And I said on the Tonight Show that I'm going to go and enter the governor's race. And I'm going to be the next governor of the great state of California. And 2 months later, I was elected the governor of the great state of California.
I voted for you.
Say again?
I voted for you.
Thank you.
I was there.
Thank you.
I was excited.
So anyway, so this was the story. So I did not have that vision. That vision came about very, very quickly because I saw the deterioration of the state, and I saw a very clear vision again of a beautiful state and where we can actually solve some of those problems. You can never solve all the problems because as you put out fires over here, there's new fires going on over there. So I mean, it is an ongoing process, but I had a great time doing it. And I tell you something, people ask me then all the time, I said, why would you do that? Why would you go and become governor? I mean, you make $20, $30 million a movie. You make 2 movies a year. You will be losing out on $40 to $60 million on income. Why would you want to do that? And I said, you know something? America gave me everything that I have, and now it's time to give something back. So this is exactly what I did. I jumped in there and I did it. And I don't miss that money at all. And I'm not talking about my divorce now, okay? That's another ball game. But in any case, the bottom line is I was happy to do it. And, you know, I make plenty of money now. So you make up for this kind of things, for this losses. Notice, they even wanted to offer me, the salary was like $178,000 a year as governor. I said, keep it. It's petty cash. I said, just keep it. I said, and give it to someone that needs that money more than I do. Because we have a lot of homeless, we have a lot of people that need help in California. I said, give it to them. I don't need it. I have plenty of money. So that was it.
How important is money? How important has money been along the way? And would you give them permission? Like, you came out unapologetically, said, I wanted to be a millionaire, I wanted to be famous, I wanted to make movies. How important is money to the formation of the career or the business?
Well, you know, you have to understand that I grew up after the Second World War in Austria. And it was a very depressing atmosphere, obviously, because I was born in 1947. The Second World War ended in 1945, so literally 2 years before I was born. So there was still starvation. There was famine, there was misery, the men felt like losers, so they get drunk all the time, so there was alcoholism around, we were beaten as kids all the time and stuff like that. So to me, I couldn't wait to get out of there. And I grew up with no money. And so of course then you dream about the things that you don't have. So I wanted to, you know, I just was looking forward to becoming the strongest man and to become the most muscular man. I wanted to be just like the stars I see on the big screen, like in the Hercules movies, like Steve Reeves or Reg Park. So my dream was to become and get into the movies, become a movie actor, a leading man in the movies. And to become just like they did, to become rich and make money from those movies and all this stuff. So to me, this was very, very important. It is not to everyone important. You know, there's some people that have different goals. I always say to people, it doesn't matter what your goal is. The important thing is just that you have a very clear vision what that goal is. Because when I read statistics that 78% of the people in America hate their jobs, hate their job. I mean, think about that. That is depressing. That 78% hate their jobs because they got into their job not really having a plan. This is like a pilot stepping into the most sophisticated airplane in the world and flying around and not knowing where to go. You have to know where you're going. And this was my big advantage always. I knew exactly I wanted to be Mr. Universe, just like Reg Park, and I visualized myself at all times to be in London on that stage where Reg Park and Steve Reeves won Mr. Universe, and for me to receive the trophy. And so every rep that I did, every weight I lifted, every set that I did, every time I went to the gym, it was for the specific reason to move me closer and closer to turn that goal, that vision into reality. So there was a purpose. And that's why I had so much fun doing it, working out in the gym. All the other guys were running around like totally depressed. I was always running around happy. I couldn't wait to do the next chin-up. I couldn't wait to do the next sit-up. I couldn't wait to do the next bench press. I couldn't wait to do the next deadlift, because every rep got me closer to this goal to become Mr. Universe. That was it. And so to me, that became the most important thing, is to have a vision. So your vision could be to have a really happy family. And it has nothing to do with money at all. God bless you. I want you to be successful with that too. But you have to have that vision too. Here are the things that I need to do to have a happy family. And you have to write them down and you have to do them. Or I want to be a great athlete, or I want to be a millionaire, I want to be a successful businessman. Whatever it may be, the rules are always the same. Don't listen to the naysayers. You see what I'm saying? Don't listen to naysayers. People always ask me, what was the most important thing for you besides having a vision? I say, don't listen to the naysayers. Because everyone has told me from the time I said I want to be Mr. Universe, they said, you're stupid. A stupid dream. Come on, wake up, Arnold. You will never be Mr. Universe. This is an American sport. You can be a soccer champion in Austria, you can be a ski champion in Austria, a bicycle champion in Austria, a golf champion, but not a bodybuilding champion. That's an American thing. It was impossible for them, and they did it. And when they say, I want to come to America, they also say they're sure they're going to wait over there for you. But then I came to America, and they were waiting for me. Oh yes, they were waiting for me. They embraced me with open arms when I came to America. I tell you, the bodybuilders down there in Gold's Gym, they welcomed me in, they trained with me, they gave me pillowcases and bed sheets and silverware and plates and a black and white TV and all the stuff. I had nothing. $20 in my pocket when I came to Los Angeles. The American people gave me, those bodybuilders, they gave me those things. On Thanksgiving Day, they came over to my house, to my apartment, and they gave me all those things. I felt welcome from the day one when I came to America. So they were wrong again, those people in Austria, when they said, yeah, they're going to wait for you over there. Oh, yes. I got the best reception. I will never forget that. Then when I wanted to get into movies, they said, oh, and I'm talking about not the managers, the agents, the movie executives, the studio executives. They said, oh, Arnold, I'm so sorry. I said, we love you as a bodybuilder. Maybe you should take over a health food store or something like that. But you would never be a leading man. First of all, you have an accent. A leading man. So you have an accent. No one with an accent can be a leading man in America. So that no one has ever managed that. Then you have this body of yours. Look how huge you are. This is not the 60s where they did Hercules movies. We are now in the 70s. In the 70s, it's Dustin Hoffman. He weighs 135 pounds. Al Pacino weighs 139 pounds. And Woody Allen weighs 100 pounds. He says those are the sex symbols and those are the big stars of the 70s. So where do you fit in? And you name Schnitzel or something like that? Forget about it. It's not going to happen. So again, I didn't listen to the naysayers. I did not listen to their no's and it can't be done. Nothing. I worked forward. I worked 5 hours a day on English lessons, and accent removal lessons, and speech lessons, and song lessons, and this, that, and stunt lessons, and acting lessons, and all of those kind of things. I worked and worked and worked my ass off. And you know something? Eventually, I started doing movies. Stay Hungry, Pumping Iron, Streets of San Francisco, The Jane Mansfield Story, the villain with Kirk Douglas and Anne Margaret, and then Conan the Barbarian. Huh? Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women. It was an famous Conan line, those that have seen Conan. I still remember all my lines. But in any case, so again, I broke through, and the director said, if we wouldn't have had Schwarzenegger, we would have not been able to do Conan, because he's the only one that has a muscular body and also has the acting ability. So all of a sudden, without me, they couldn't have done it. So now the body became kind of the thing. And then all of a sudden, we did Commando, where it was very important to have the muscular body. Then we did Terminator, which was very important that we had the muscular body. And
how big was the first Terminator? And how hard was it to get that movie done?
It was, the first Terminator was huge. It was like, it grossed a lot of money, and the most important thing was it was considered first a regular B-movie, action movie. And then when Time magazine put it in the top 10 movies of the year, then everyone all of a sudden said, whoa, we better go and see that. And it became a huge, huge hit.
What did you get paid for that movie?
Oh, not much. It was like probably $750,000.
That much?
Yeah, $750,000,
wow.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of money back then.
No, but remember one thing, and here's the important thing, that I was a millionaire before I ever did that movie, before I did Conan or Terminator, because I became a millionaire because of real estate, the business that you are in, or one of the businesses that you're in.
I didn't want you to bring that up.
No, but it's true. I saved every penny. Imagine that I did not have a blazer to go out in with the age of 24 or 25. I had nothing. I was just training and working and training and working and training and working and going to school, getting my degree, my business degree. And I was going around and doing seminars and exhibitions, and every time I made some money, I took the money and I stuffed them right here, my cash, into my boots. Because sometimes I was in England, sometimes in South Africa, sometimes in France, Canada, so I always was flying home. So I didn't want to go to sleep and have someone steal my money. So I was smart. So I stuffed my cash into my boots. Then I took them home, and then I put them in the bank. And that's how I saved up until I had $27,500. And then I put down money for a 6-unit apartment building. And then
you didn't buy a house.
No.
You bought.
No, because I tell you, there was a real estate woman by the name of Olga. She was from Lebanon, and she was Danny DeVito's height. She was like this, and actually pretty old already. I would say she was in her 60s. It's very unusual to work at that age. And she said to me, she says, Arnold, listen to me. You need income property. When you have a house, or when you have a condominium, then you have to pay the mortgage, and you have to pay for the expenses. But I find you a 6-unit apartment building that has an owner's unit in front. And you're gonna stay there in this owner's unit. And then you're gonna go and pay for your rent, and then they're gonna pay for their rent, and the value of your property will go up. It was a $240,000 apartment building. Now remember, this is the 70s. $240,000 apartment building. 2 years later, I got $400,000 when I sold that building. 2 years later, $400,000. Now imagine, I put only 27.5 down. Now imagine that profit.
10x.
Right? I mean, imagine that profit. Now I didn't take the money because that Olga came back. I mean, she was the original one that said, "I'll be back." And then Olga came back and she says, "Don't you dare take that money." I said, "Well, what do you want me to do with that money?" "We trade up. We trade up." He says, "You get a 12 unit. I will find you the 12 unit in Brentwood, even in a better area." And you trade up. That's what we did. 2 years later, we sold that again and traded up to a 36 unit apartment building. And then to a 60 unit apartment building, a 100 unit apartment building. This is how it went. And then I started getting involved with a friend of mine in office buildings on Main Street, and you know those areas because you are from out there. On Main Street in Santa Monica, it's a street that goes down towards Venice. And I bought a beautiful old building there, again for $450,000. That came with 3 little houses in the back.
You're acting. You're not a star yet.
No, I'm not a star. I've done 2 little movies before, but I mean, I wanted to make sure that I make enough money so that I don't have to take stupid parts. Because when you're an actor, sometimes in order to make a living and to pay for your rent, you have to take stupid parts. And I didn't want to play a bouncer. I didn't want to play a professional football player that I was not. I didn't want to play a wrestler. I didn't want to play a stupid killer and be a villain. I didn't want to do any of that. I wanted to work my way up the career and be a hero. And so this is exactly what I did. So this is why I kept saving money and I kept making money. And in real estate, I remember it was like in the early 80s, I was already a millionaire now, and I felt really good about myself that I didn't have to take those parts, and that I was multi-talented. You know, not only bodybuilding and knowing about fitness and about nutrition and about training and all those things, but here also as being an actor, being a successful actor, and also someone that knows how to make money, how to not spend more money than you make, how do you actually make money, put a certain percentage aside to invest in investments and all of that kind of stuff. And I always paid my taxes. So, but it was because I love this country. I didn't want an offshore corporation and any of those tricks. None of that. And you know something? It paid off. Because when I ran for governor, guess what was the first thing they do? They check into your financial background. Did you pay your taxes? Did you do this? Did you cheat on some of those things? So that's what happens. So they looked through all of my stuff. We put it all out there. They looked through it and they said, there's not one single flaw. Nothing. So this is why I had this clean road.
Do you own any of that real estate today? Do you have any of that original real estate?
No, I mean, we kept trading up and all that stuff into office buildings and all this different other kind of investments. But I mean, I tell you, I learned very quickly, not so much in school, even though I have a degree in business administration and took classes in marketing and promotion and all of that stuff. As you all know, you can have the best product in the world. But if no one knows about it, you have nothing. You have nothing. So this is why what Ted Turner said, early to bed, early to rise, work like hell and advertise. Okay, advertise, promote, articulate, and let people know what product you're talking about. And this is what is the most important thing about all of this stuff, no matter which business you're in.
You're saying best product does not beat best known product.
That's right. You got
to be better known.
You got to know how to sell. And this is why studios love to do business with me and have me act in their movies, because they knew that I was the only one of the actors that was thinking creatively on how to sell the movie, how to sell things. And so this is, if it's the book that I have written that was on the bestseller list for 6 months, on the bestseller list, Be Useful. That book was very hugely successful, even though, like I said, this is not the business that I'm in. But I wrote this book and I just was really happy with the tremendous success. But it was because I went out and I sold it. I did interviews, I did different shows, I did all the famous podcasts. I just did the Kelsey Brothers. You know, they have a famous podcast. Yeah. I just
I can't believe you didn't do my podcast. I would have pushed a bunch of books.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they had the book. I signed to each one of them a book. Then they put it right up there, and that's why I did it, right? So I brought a signed book to their show. Then they put it on the table, so it was in the shot all the time. You could see it all the time.
Do you think somebody can be too promotional?
No, but, you know, you have to be smooth about it. You know, I would not talk about it like every 2 minutes about your product, because it's like beating it over the head unnecessarily. But every so often you slip it in.
Is that too much?
No, that's good.
Okay.
That's good.
Get the wide shot right now, guys.
Get the wide shot. What's the matter with you today?
Yeah, what's wrong with you guys?
Yeah.
What did you tell my
it's like unbelievable. First you want strike, and now you don't want to do the shot? I mean, what is going on?
No, not that shot. This shot, guys.
This shot here.
Yeah, that shot. I just asked Arnold, is that too much?
No, it's not too much. This is good. It's at all times between you and me.
I love you, man. God damn. Do you guys love this man? You mentioned the word hero, that you wanted to be the hero in the movies. 2 questions. Why did you want to be the hero? And 2, can anyone be a hero in real life?
Well, you know, everyone has a certain believability. I felt that it would be more believable for me to play the hero. Even though I then ventured out and Jim Cameron talked me into playing the Terminator, which was a villain. But as he explained to me, was because it's a machine, so it's not really a villain because you're not responsible for that. You're a machine. And you're directed by some higher power because machines became self-aware. So he says, so therefore I will shoot it in a way where you will be the most sought-after villain and also the most popular hero. And sure enough, that movie put me on both lists, in the top 10 villain list, in the top 10 hero list. So he was absolutely correct. So I mean, so sometimes it did venture out like that. But I wanted to build a career as a hero, like Conan the Barbarian. Then we did the second one. Then there all of those movies that you see, Commando and Predator and True Lies, and all this. These are very heroic movies. And at the same time, some of them are very funny, like Twins, and which was a comedy. And here's another one. Can you imagine that when I said I was now doing, you know, Conan 2, and Red Sonja, and Commando, and Terminator, and Running Man, and Red Heat. And then I said, I would like to do, for a change, a comedy. Arnold, that is very funny. What do you think, we are stupid? The studio executive said, what do you think, we are stupid? He says, we are making a lot of money with you playing an action hero and doing action movies. You created a new genre, the action hero with the muscles. Do you think we're going to go all of a sudden and go to a different track? No. I would not spend any money on that. I said, what do you think, I'm going to pay you millions of dollars for that? I said, don't worry. I have an idea, we do it for nothing. I do the movie for nothing. I totally get it, that it is a risky thing for you guys to do and all this stuff. I said, the budget, the way we figured it, is $16.5 million, and you don't have to pay for the actors. I make sure that Danny DeVito doesn't take any money, Ivan Reitman doesn't take any money, the director, and I take no money. And in return, you give us 37.5% ownership of the movie.
How much did it do?
They thought they're smart. they said, "You think we are stupid?" Then I had to laugh because they were, because they signed that deal. They signed that deal, and we all made more money than on any movie that we ever done, ever. Imagine owning 37.5%. The movie made almost $300 million. I mean, what the hell? And that's only at the box office. That's not even counting TV and the streaming rights and the rights for airplane showing and stuff like that. So, I mean, that was the best deal we've ever made. So anyway, I then did the comedy. It went through the roof. We had a presidential screening with George Bush, who was just freshly elected at that time in 1988. And it was fantastic. And then after that, they offered me Kindergarten Cop, which was a comedy. Then they offered me Junior, which was a comedy. Jingle All the Way, which was a comedy. And True Lies with Jim Cameron, which was a comedy. And then Jamie Lee Curtis, huh? Are we talking? I mean, man, when she did the dance sequence, I tell you, I was almost out of control. Oh, man. But in any case, so this is the way it goes, you know. So there's certain things I can tell you over and over again when they say it's impossible, it will not happen, it's not going to be successful and all those kind of things. So you just have to not listen to the naysayers. That is the important thing.
So do you read it? Do you look at it? Do you read the critics, or do you use it? Like when you became famous and you started getting attention from both sides, do you look at that? And if you look at it, do you use it or do you throw it away? How do you manage that?
Well, you mean the reviews?
Yeah, the review.
You know, you have to understand, I'm a little bit different than Sly is about that. Sly was always mad when he read a bad review. And I understand that. But I somehow have a mentality that I am more understanding. Because we cannot have everyone like everything that we like. You have the Hummer out there. I happen to love it. There may be people out there and they say, that's stupid. I don't like it. I'd rather have a Porsche. So, what do you say to that person? You say, you know something, I totally respect your taste. I have my taste. And by the way, I have a Porsche too, but I mean, I don't use it as much as that. Because I don't want to show off, I just have my little common vehicles here. But I mean, so you make something funny out of it, but you don't get mad at someone because he doesn't believe like you believe. This is why I don't understand when people fight over politics. I mean, it's like everyone comes from a different angle. Everyone grows up differently. Everyone is different. Everyone has different needs and sees things differently. So we don't have to get angry at each other. We don't have to attack each other. If a reviewer, if a critic writes, do you know what they said when The Villain came out, which was with Kirk Douglas in Anne Margaret? One of the reviews said, the horse had better facial expressions than Schwarzenegger. So what do you think, how you feel when you read that? So I said to myself, I'm going to go and bring that review to the Tonight Show. And so I went to the Night Show, and they asked, Johnny Carson asked me, so how were the reviews about your movie, The Villain? I said, well, let me read you one. I said, very, very complimentary. So then I read them. I said, you know, the horse's facial expressions were better than Schwarzenegger's. So everyone in the audience were howling. And then they went to see the movie. I mean, so
you leaned into it.
Yeah, you got to advertise, right? Advertise, promote, use the movie. So that was a really good way to use the movie and the name of the movie and talk about it over and over again. You say that the villain, Kirk Douglas, Anne Margaret, the villain. Oh yeah, here's the review of The Villain. You know, and so, you know, they may go and see the movie. And then everyone called me then the next week and they said, oh my God, the grosses in the box office went up because of the Tonight Show. So, I mean, you got to have a sense of humor about this stuff. You cannot go and attack people and say, that son of a bitch, if I meet him in a dark alley, I'm going to kill him. And no, none of that. You just, then you even send him back a note and says, you're very funny. And I hope that you like my next movie more. And sure enough, then the next movie gets a better review. So that's the way you have to treat those kind of things. So you can't get mad, especially when you imagine you get into politics. I was
it worse?
80%. I mean, Grant, I tell you, I had 80% favorability rating in California. The day I announced my candidacy, I dropped down from 80 to 50%. Just because there were people that said, Democrats that said, oh, here's a Republican. Screw him. I didn't know he's a Republican. I mean, just announcing that he wants to be a Republican governor. Oh, no, forget that. So that's what happens. So, but you can't be mad. That's just the way it is. Yeah. So now it was up to me to go around the state. People threw eggs at me. I went to university and I gave a speech. A guy threw a raw egg at me, a student, because I said we're going to go and take the driver's license away from the illegal aliens. And so, you know, right or wrong, I felt that the California people were very mad that the illegals got a driver's license. So I came in and said, well, I'm going to take it away. And so one of them was probably one of those immigrants that was mad about it, and he threw an egg at me. Right on my left shoulder. I brushed it off, and I said to him, you owe me bacon.
Oh my God, so good. With a bagel.
Exactly. But you see what I'm saying? Instead of screaming now and saying to the security, go after this guy, get him. How dare you're throwing eggs at a 7-time Mr. Olympia. No, I would be taking myself too seriously if I do that. So it was much cooler to just not even kind of like jerk or anything like this and get mad, but I brushed it off. I took the jacket off, gave it to the security guy, and I went up on stage and I did my speech. But on the way up, I said, hey, you owe me bacon. And so everyone laughed, and then the press wrote about that. And then everyone said, this was the coolest thing Schwarzenegger did. Can you believe that? He didn't even get angry. He had a joke right away. So this is the way you have to kind of handle those things, rather than getting mad and getting angry and getting worked up on the whole thing. So this is what happens a lot of times. So the bottom line is I think that we have to be much more forgiving towards each other, and we have to be much more understanding. We have to be much more inclusive. We have to be much kinder. Those are the kind of things we have to work on besides just being more successful. I think success is absolutely essential because it makes us feel good, but along the way, we cannot go and step over people and treat them like shit. You know, we got to treat each other nicely. That is the important thing.
Do you think that anyone, like you've had some big dreams to come here as an immigrant, you came here legally, right?
Came here legally, yeah.
Yeah. Came through the process, become a movie star, like everything you accomplished here. Big dreams, you had nothing, came from poverty. Do you think anyone, despite their handicaps, can make any dream a reality?
I think that the most important thing is to find your passion and your dream. This is what is the most difficult thing for people, is it's not to have a dream and to accomplish it. Because the bottom line is, if you have a dream, there's always a specific kind of a schedule that you can follow to make this dream become a reality. Like with me, I looked at Reg Park's training. It said he trained 5 hours a day. He did 10 sets of bench press, 5 sets of incline press, 5 sets of flies, 5 sets of incline flies, 5 sets of pullovers. That was his chest workout. Okay, I wrote this down. That's what I did. Same with his back workout, his leg workout, and all this. So there's a way to do that. But the key thing is to believe in your dream. And so to me, that is the most important thing, is not to worry so much about, can you get there? I guarantee you, I very rarely have seen someone fail when they had a very clear vision and when they're really passionate about it. If it is you want to be a great artist, if you want to be a great singer, I mean, just look at this, The Voice, when you look at this program, how people are struggling. They have a very clear vision, but they just need to get there. And now with that help that they get there, and with this kind of tutoring that they get there from these professional singers, they always had a breakthrough, and they do it, even though they were struggling for a long time. So it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen from one day to the next. No, sometimes it takes a long time to get there, but have a vision. And that's why I say to a lot of young people today, they have a problem with a vision. They tell you why. They spend too much time on the phone, too much time on the iPad, too much time on the computer, too much time on all of those machines, so they don't know anymore how do they think. They know how everyone else thinks. They know whatever everyone else is doing, what everyone else's successes are. That's what they're looking at the screen, but not what they want. I had the time. When I was in Austria, we didn't even have a phone in our house. We didn't have a TV in our house. So there was silence. And I had time to think, and to think, and to think. And then all of a sudden, it became more and more clear in my mind. And so this is what you need to do, and that's what people need to do, is just take the time. Sometimes it takes weeks. I told my kids, I say, you're not going to have a dream overnight. Sometimes it happens that you have it right away from the time you're little, you get passionate about something, and sometimes it doesn't. So you have to work at it. And so the most important thing, I says, is have a dream and have a vision. That is what you should shoot for. This is the most important thing.
Do you think you could have, is there any regrets you have, like looking back saying, I wish I would have dreamed even bigger?
No, I mean, I tell you, one of the things that I write about in Be Useful is don't pick small dreams. You know, big dreams. Because when I ran for governor, I tell you, people came to me immediately and said, Arnold, that's a mistake. You should go and run first for mayor. I said, I'm not the mayor kind of a guy. Why would I run for mayor when the state of California needs to be fixed? I'm not looking for being a career politician. I say, I just want to be governor to fix the problems that we have. And I'm going to run for governor. I'm not going to run for mayor first, and then for state assembly, and then for state senator, and all of those things, and work my way up. No.
Big.
I'm going to run for governor. And so, you know, I think that it's important that we do not shy away from big goals. Why do people shy away from big goals? Because they're scared of failing. Scared of failing. Let me remind you that everyone fails. Everyone fails. Even when you read Michael Jordan's book, he talks about it, how many thousands of shots he missed and failed, how many playoff games he lost, how many mistakes he made. So this is natural. When you're a lifter, when you're a weightlifter like I was, they go to 100 pounds, I may fail. After 3 times trying, maybe I make it. Then I put 200 pounds on, I may fail again. With 300 pounds, I remember the 500-pound bench press, which was in those days a lot. I failed 10 times in competition. There was powerlifting event here, and then we were lifting against this club over there, and I failed, and I failed, and I failed. But the 11th time, I made it. I made the 500 pounds. It looked like I would never make it, but I made the 500 pounds. So I was not afraid because I failed in front of a few hundred people in a beer hall where this powerlifting event was. I wasn't worried about that. I just wanted to lift the 500 pounds, so that people are so scared of failing that they can't go and make and pick a big goal. But you have to understand that failure is kind of like, I said to myself, okay, how far can I fall? Here's the ground. Here's the ground. And you know something? I can fall 20 times in a row. But every single time I will get up. Losers stay down, but winners get up. And they get up, and they get up, and they get up, and they get up. That is the bottom line.
They love you, man. One more question.
Yeah.
Is he
Thank
great
you.
or what? They love you, man. I want to ask you a question about Sly, but I'm not going to do it. So,
You can ask me.
well, I don't want to go there
Feel free.
because I sat on stage with him, and I'm like, bro, you got to be worth a couple $1 billion from the Rocky movie. And he's like, how would he say this? Yeah. He says, no, he's,
Frankie. Yeah.
and he said, look, I didn't own any of that movie. He said, I didn't own any of it. And I was like, wow, I had no clue of that. My final question.
Well, first of all, just answer that. He is very upset about not having given a taste of ownership of Rocky. Like I was talking about Twins, you know, where they gave us together collectively 37.5%.
was good for Danny too, right?
And they should have given him a taste of it, even maybe not at the first time, but then when it was clear that it was a franchise and they were making money over and over, and every one of those movies made a huge amount of money, and he did such a great job with the acting and such a great job with the writing and with the directing and with all of those things, he deserves money for that movie. There's no do with
He
about
told
that.
me,
Yes.
100%. He told me, this is a plug on me now. He's like, if I'd have known a guy like you then, I would have done a different deal. How important is it, 2 questions now, how important is it for this group to have people that have more experience with where they're going?
Well, I think that everyone in here can improve, including the people that are sitting up here.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Every single day, think about how can I improve? How can I be better? And I'm 76 years old. I'm going to be this year in July 30th, for those that want to send birthday gifts. On July 30th, I'm going to be 77. And let me tell you something. But you got to improve. That's what we are meant for. We got to learn. And so you guys, I just want you to know, for you to sit here and to listen to all of those speakers, that is very clear that you want to learn and you want to improve. It's very, very clear. And so this is why I think that you should look at yourself today in a mirror at night before you go to bed and just say, let's declare victory. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, let's declare victory, because I was sitting there for hours and hours and hours and I was learning, because I have an open mind and acquiring minds need to know. I wanted to know what the ins and outs are, what it is to be successful, what does it take, what else do they need to do, and on and on and on. So I thank the world of you, even though I cannot see every face right now, only the people from the front here.
Turn the lights up,
but
if you will.
I just want you to know, I
Now you
thank
can
the
see 'em.
world of you.
Now you can see 'em.
Fantastic. You're all going to be more successful because of this. Let me tell you something. I'm proud of you.
Last question, and thank you so much for being with us today. You didn't have to do this. Thank you, and thank you. What does the term 10X mean to you?
Success, growth, explosion, beyond.
Ladies and gentlemen, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger.